Hello, welcome to this Nebraska Furniture Mart High School Preview Show alongside Dion Clisso of Preps KC. I'm Lee Fleisig. Dion, there's so much excitement about this season and maybe a return to somewhat normalcy, and then COVID kind of starts creeping back into the conversation again. What's going to be the impact, do you think, early on of maybe COVID making a bit of a return?
Well, it's going to be interesting because there's been a couple games that have been moved and teams have had to cancel, Ruskin and Kearney. And I think the impact is as much on the 14 practice rule as it is, whether or not they have enough players, physically able to play or coming out of quarantine. The quarantine has caused players not be able to have their 14 practices in before the start of the season, which is kind of funny because most of these programs, Ruskin included, who had a great summer with a lot of kids participate right up until the dead week, take a week off and start again. And Misha and Keisha, to a certain extent, act like that everyone dropped out of the sky and it's all brand new that first week of practice, when in fact they've been practicing for a month and a half. So I don't think it'll be quite like it was last year. There's vaccinations and more protocols. I think everybody learned a lot of that, but I think you're still going to see some here and there.
All right, let's get right into it. Our Super 25 preseason poll, and we're going to start right at the top. How about this? Coming right at you at number 1, the Liberty North Eagles, who play in one of the toughest leagues in the state, the Suburban Gold Conference. Coming in at number 2, the Olathe North Eagles. They have a whole bunch of experienced players returning this season. And at number 3, almost had him at number 2. It was close, but Blue Valley comes in at number 3. Now the Tigers went 6-2 in a 2020 season that saw several last-minute transfers and injuries affect them. As always, Blue Valley will be battle-tested in the EKL with that tough schedule, as well as facing Lee Summit in Week 3. Now, Blue Valley returns a strong and extremely talented cast, including a huge group of 31 seniors.
Well, it's just a great class. It doesn't matter if it was 31 or 21 for us. If they're high-character kids, which we are fortunate to have this year, they're leaders of our team. It's their season. It's their team this year, and we have a great group of them. And there's a bunch of them, and there's a bunch of them that can play as well. So we're blessed.
It's just a lot of seniors, and it's a lot of people that we can rely on and pick the younger ones up.
All right, Dion, any argument with the top 3 so far?
Well, I tell you, I know Greg Jones doesn't want to be number 1. They only have 3 starters back on both sides of the ball, but I told him when you've lost one freshman game in 5 years, people aren't buying that you don't have any players. But no, that's a pretty good looking group. And you talk about Blue Valley, and that's a team that got off to a little bit of a slow start, but boy, they got better as the season went on. And Grayson Holbert's an outstanding quarterback for them, and I think they really had a lot of momentum there at the end of last season that they're going to take into this year. All
right, back to our Super 25, and the 4th team in the Spectrum Sports Super 25 is another Suburban Gold juggernaut, Raymore Peculiar. The Panthers won the Missouri Class 6 state championship last season. In Sean Martin's first year as the head coach, the Panthers returned just 6 starters this year, but one of them is the Otis Taylor Award winner, Jaden Doss. The Kansas City area hadn't won a big class title in 4 seasons until Ray Peck did it last year. But they aren't thinking about that right now.
We're dealing with now and right now. We're trying to live in the present. We enjoyed the heck out of last season. A tough time in the world, but a lot of fun around the Raymore and Peculiar communities, and we're living right now in 2021.
Yeah, it took a little while for us to adjust to the Class 6, but now that we're here, we've been here for over 10 years, and we're here to stay. It really speaks a lot of levels to our conference. The teams we play week in, week out, really, really good. I feel like a team from our conference is going to win state championship again this year.
Yeah, with 6 return starters, obviously we'll have a lot of newcomers this year. Now, the one thing about playing 4 extra games last year, we got a lot of extra practice in November, and had a lot of kids that will become starters this year, get significant reps last year, and they got a month more practice.
They got a lot of extra practice in those 4 extra games. They have a chance to repeat this year?
I think they've got a shot. There's a lot of starters to replace, and they've got good ones, though. Tucker Miller's a good-looking kid at tight end, and he may, depending on how the quarterback thing shakes out, he could be the emergency guy there as well. I think they're a really talented team. They will have to find some big guys up front, but they've been pretty deep in that area the last few years, and they have Jaden Doss and some other good young players as well. So it's going to be tough, but they really turned it on as the season went on last year, and I think that they've got a shot to be pretty good again this year.
Okay, and rounding out our top 5 in the Spectrum Super 25, how about Blue Valley Northwest? Now, last season, the Huskies began the transition from being hunter to that of hunted. The previous 6 seasons, Northwest failed to finish with a winning record, but that all changed in 2020 as they went 5-2. Blue Valley Northwest returns a loaded offense and an FBS player galore with quarterback Mikey Pauley, running back Grant Stubblefield, and wideout Max Muehlberger. Dion, we were just talking about Mikey Pauley before we came in here. A great athlete who can seemingly do it all, and that dual threat guy. You like him?
Yeah, I love the dual threat quarterback. And you talk about Muehlberger, there's a guy who's gotten looks at the D1 level as well. And this is the Blue Valley Northwest team. When Clint Ryder came in, they really tried to change the weight program all out through the school and let that bleed from the football program down. And they've definitely done a good job of that. And it's good to see Blue Valley Northwest good. That's a fun program, and there's so much depth in that EKL from top to bottom.
All right, continuing on now with our Super 25. Number 6 is Rockhurst. 7th, the Odessa Bulldogs. They haven't lost a game now in 2 years. Coming in at number 8 is Liberty. Tons of talent for the Blue Jays this year. 9th is Mill Valley. 10th is Raytown, who had a major contribution from a lot of sophomores last year, so expect them to be good as well. Dion, let's go back to number 6. What a difference a year makes for Rockhurst. And Kelly Donahoe, their new head coach. The Hawklets were on a run near the end of the season, winning 4 of their last 5 games before a heartbreaking end of their season as COVID caused forfeiture right before the playoffs. Per usual, the schedule is not for the faint of heart, which includes both schools in the 2020 Class 6 state final, plus regional powerhouses in Bentonville and CDC, and not to mention Bishop Miege, Lee Summit West, Park Hill, and both Blue Springs schools. Donahoe feels that his second season at Rockhurst is off to a much smoother start than the first.
If you look back to last summer, we didn't get June. June was only 2 weeks of conditioning, so then we started July actually trying to implement our stuff, and everything was new, defense, offense, everything. And then we had to take a week off because of some COVID concerns, and so we didn't get much in the summer. And so we felt like we were really behind the 8 ball, and then we caught up as the season was going on. We felt like we were catching up, and that's why we were so hurt by losing that season, because right at the end we felt like finally our kids had figured it out and we were playing well. But like I said, we're just thrilled to have a normal year and come back, and we feel like we're light years ahead of where we were a year ago just because we've had a summer of preparation.
Well, it's like you never know when it could be your last time playing, so I think it's a good lesson to learn from and to go out and compete every Friday night and don't take anything for granted, especially our practices, because I never knew how much I actually liked being around the guys at practice with doing conditioning and everything like that, but I missed it when it got taken away.
Now, Mill Valley has won 4 of the last 6 state titles in Kansas 5A under Joel Appleby, who won 91 games in 12 seasons. Now, Jags lost 18 starters from last year. The last few years have shown it's a reload for the Jags, not a rebuild. Big Aiden Schaefer knows the next group is ready to step in and continue the tradition.
For me, I want to win a 3rd state championship. That's always our goal. It's kind of we've built up such a strong program that we expect to be, we expect to be good, we expect to play hard, we expect to win. That's just how we do things.
That's the goal, but I mean, when you're dealing with 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, it's a process every year, and every year is new, and we look at it that way, and we have great kids here that they do understand the value of hard work, and that's really what we preach, and we feel like if we can get that through to them, and then the other stuff comes along with it too.
It is a tradition that's been built out there, and an expectation now that a state championship is on the horizon.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's not this year, they expect it maybe in a couple years. They really like the underclassmen in this group, and I tell you, I wouldn't count Mill Valley out this year. There's something to be said for playing on those extra games. You heard Sean Martin talk about it. When you're doing it year after year after year, you're getting 3, 4, on the Missouri side, sometimes 5 extra games if you make a state championship run. That really builds your youth. Your youth get that many more practices, and those freshmen who get those extra practices, by the time they're senior, they've almost had an extra season of practice in there. So I think Mill Valley is definitely a team to keep an eye on, even though they've lost a ton of really good talented players off that team. I expect them to kind of reload and be a force in 5A in Kansas.
That's a great point. It's not only the games, it's the practices.
Practices are such
a big difference. Hey, we're gearing up. We're ready for our games of the week to get underway, and here's our first 3 on the schedule live here on Spectrum Sports. It'll be Blue Springs, the Wildcats, taking on the Liberty Blue Jays. That one coming up Friday on August 27th. Then we've got Mill Valley. We'll see them in person against Gardner Edgerton. That ought to be a great game on Friday, September 3rd, followed by Luther North Crusaders taking on St. Thomas Aquinas, the Saints, on September 10th. 7 o'clock kickoff. Again, all those games live right here on Spectrum Sports. Can't wait for the season to get started on August 27th. Hey, after the break, former legendary coach at St. Pius, Rick Byers, is taking over a new team with the same attitude, though. He joins us from the Nebraska Furniture Mart. And a little later in the show, the legend of all legends, Tony Severino. He may have retired, but he's still involved in coaching. We'll talk to him as he stops by the studio to catch up on his life when we come back on the Nebraska Furniture Mart High School Preview Show here on Spectrum Sports.
Here we go, here we go. Good job, way to compete. Way to compete. Good job, Bears. Good job, Bears. Find the man, right there. Oh! Hey, just sit. Let's play. It's 7-on-7. It's all right. We'll get there, guys. Let's go. Come on, Bears. So let's come out and compete right. Keep competing. All right? We're playing physical, we're playing hard, and we're playing fast. Can't ask no more than that on our first outing.
Welcome back to the Nebraska Furniture Mart High School Preview Show. We are inside Nebraska Furniture Mart with the Turner Bears.
Yes.
Head coach Rick Byers, Ty Cole is leading returning rusher joining us. And Coach, I see a Turner logo there. For 25 years you were head coach at St. Pius. You spent more than 30 years there. Now you're taking over the Turner Bears. What's it like jumping over the other side of the state line?
Well, it's been interesting. You know, last year I was over at Blue Valley North, and we were actually one of the districts that got to play last year. It was fantastic. Ended up going, and Coach Sims took us to the state championship. We lost the Derby, but it's been an eye opener. You know, in all my years coaching, I always kind of kept track of what was happening on the Kansas side. And Turner, I'm excited, and I told the kids that I was really impressed with the toughness of the kids. So definitely got the sky's the limit.
You get a championship coach here, 3 state titles at St. Pius. What's it been like? I know it's just early on, but what's it been like with Coach Byers now?
Really interesting because I'm still new as well. I transferred over last year from Omaha, Nebraska. Only got to play 2 games, so just me still learning the team and just meeting this new coach once again, because we had a new coach last year, but meeting this one. And still, summertime, school just started. We still just filling him out. He's filling us out. And Coach Byers don't play no games. He really get on us. He don't hold nothing back, so we love that.
I think everybody learns that early on probably with you, don't they?
Yeah. I told him I have a really high resolve, so you know, I don't give in too often. So.
Coach, you've got a great foundation there. You've got some pretty good numbers out. You've got a brand new facility that didn't get a chance to even be opened last year because of COVID. You're going to start really fresh here in 2021.
Oh, absolutely. And you guys know from coming out to all my years at Pius, and our field looked like the surface of the moon, and shoot, we were just happy to have green out there. We painted sometime green just to get it there, you know, and to have this facility, this is definitely a blessing. And the kids, they treat it like it's you know, Taj Mahal. They don't leave no paper out, no trash out. So I haven't had to tell them once to take care of this place, and they're doing a great job.
Ty, what's it like to be able to open a brand new facility? You get to start brand new, really, in a brand new stadium.
It's really, we're just going to take it one game at a time. It's a fresh start. You know, we're not good. We're not having a really good season. So to get a new coach and to just start everything over, just a fresh start. So we're ready to really get out there, show everybody what we can do as a team and as a unit.
Coach, you've been part of a program for so many years, and you see kids that are coming through, starting a brand new program. Is it a little different for you to see talent for the first time? You're seeing guys over the summer, maybe for the first time, to kind of know what you've got and how you're going to play and what you want to do with this team?
Yeah, it's one of those deals, and I told them that we were going to come in, we were going to keep it simple, and we were going to just be tough. We were going to hit people and use what we got. We got a lot of guys with speed, and we're going to use that. And I'm going to try not to overburden them with football lingo, but teach them what they need to know and let them use their skills to get out and open, make things happen.
Ty, what are you looking forward to most about this season? And we talked about the facility. You get a fresh start there. What about team-wise? What are you looking forward to this season?
To prove that we got something. We don't got nothing to lose right now. So to really just to fight, to show that we fighters, to show that we are winners, and that we're not what everybody think we are. We really like that. We're ready to play. We do whatever we have to do to win, and together as a team, and that we're closer as a team than we ever was before. And that's thanks to this coach right here. So all over the summer, we yelling at each other. You know, We running, we all tired, but at the end of the day, we all running together and we all tired together. So to know that we brothers and we all sweating and bleeding together, it just makes us a whole better team as together. And now that school is starting, you know, it's going to be even a bigger challenge with grades and things like that. So we all know that we can really do this, and we just want to show the whole world, Kansas in general, everybody in our division, that we really like that, and just be watching out for the Turner Bears.
You've mentioned toughness a couple of times, and that's kind of a hallmark, I think, of a lot of your teams. You've seen it with these guys already?
Yes, yes. When I first came in, I told them no excuses, and I told them, I said, you know, if you want something you've never had, you got to be willing to do some things you've never done. And they've embraced that really, because whenever I throw out something like I do a thing called championship period, and we run shuttles, they've never questioned me once. They've just they've embraced that, and they're trying everything, giving everything I say a chance with an open mind and being super coachable. A coach can't ask for any more than that.
And why this opportunity for you? What made this so appealing for you?
Well, my year over at Blue Valley North, I really thought I was kind of on that downward slide, and I got in with Coach Andy Sims, and you know, sometimes you just need somebody to light that fire back in you, and Coach Sims did that for me. He kind of took me in after I left Pius, and he kind of ignited that fire for me again, you know. And then he left and went on to Park Hill on the Missouri side, and you know, once you're an old coach and that fire gets lit, you know, and then this opportunity came, and I went over and saw the facility, met some of the kids, and that fire's really kind of took off. And so these guys, and I'm having a ball, you know, that I'm still able to do this and still love it every year, and then get a group of kids who make you love it more. That's the one. That's what got me going.
And you feel that fire too, probably, don't you, Tom?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Every day at practice.
Guys, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Good luck over there at Turner. It's great to see you back as a head coach, and I know the guys will be excited to feel that fire one more time, because it's coming, isn't it?
Well, thank you, Leaf. It's going to be good, and I'm super excited to see what Ty's got, and I know he's going to shock some people, and you know, he's going to open a lot of eyes.
Guys, thank you very much. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more from the Nebraska Furniture Mart High School Preview Show right after this. Welcome back to the Nebraska Furniture Mart High School Preview Show. As we take a look at our schedule here on the Hy-Vee Game of the Week, we've got the Ray-Pac Panthers taking on Lee Summit North, the Broncos on September 17th. We're still waiting. We've got an open date on the 24th, so if you got your suggestions, I know who you can email. Send that out later. St. James and St. Pius coming up on October 1st, 7 o'clock kickoff. Again, those games live right here on Spectrum Sports. Dion Clisso from Preps KC joining us here as we take a look at the rest of our Super 25 here, the preseason poll, and we'll get back to number 11. Dion, it's St. Thomas Aquinas. Always a well-coached team. Randy Dryling will have them ready to play, you know that. Number 12, Smithville. They return almost all of their starters from last year. Park Hill South comes in at number 13. Blue Valley North, yeah, they may lose 3 or 4 games during the year, but you can pretty much pencil them in for the 6A state championship game. And Platte County, 2 straight trips now to the state title game in 2 different classes. You know, Platte County will be tough as well. Dion, Park Hill South has maybe one of their stronger teams in a long time. A lot of talent up there, and a lot of folks feel they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I think they are going to be pretty good. And you get Platte County and Park Hill South in week 1. It's going to be a good test to see how that goes between those 2 teams. You know, Platte County loses some people, but they just have been reloading the last few years. I'll tell you a team you got to keep an eye for, and they should be in Missouri Class 4. They're pretty solidly in that. The classifications haven't been released yet. Is Smithville. They return, I think, 19 of 22 or 18 of 21, or right in that area, 18, 19 starters. And that's a team that was just a hair's blown coverage away from beating Jeff City Helias and probably winning the state championship last year. So those are good teams to look at. But you're right, Park Hill South is going to be a good one. I think depending on how everything shakes out, because there's rumors Park Hill South could be in 6. That's the anticipation of people trying to figure out where everybody's going to be is huge between 5 and 6 on the Missouri side this year.
All right, let's go back to our Super 25. Beginning at number 16, DeSoto. Brian King has that program rolling right along. Shawnee Mission Northwest, the Cougs, always put up a bunch of points. Expect no different this year. Staley, we'll hear more about them in our next segment coming up with a new coach who has a bit of experience in the game. Lee Summit North, talent talent and more talent at Lee Summit North. And Eudora at number 20. Dion, a team with a lot of talent as well.
Yeah, Eudora has been very young the last few years and really taken a big step forward at the end of the year last year. Had some really good postseason wins. Soto, always tough. I think they're always going to be there. The team at Lee Summit North, there's some people might say that they are ranked way too low. They've got a lot of talent, but they have yet to kind of break through and kind of make that deep march. They lost to Rockhurst in the playoffs a few years ago. That they're going to do it. This is a team that's going to do it because they've got all kinds of talent on both sides of the ball.
All right, and 21 through 25 begins with Baser Linwood. They will contend for the UKC crown. Lincoln Prep, lots of FBS kids in college, but the talent continues to run through Lincoln. Harrisonville, some strong football along I-49. And speaking of which, Belton, another strong football team in that stretch of the road. Olathe West, look for the Owls to make some breakthroughs in 2021. Anybody jump off the page there?
Well, you've got kind of two kinds of teams there. Baser Linwood reminds me a lot of like a Platte County was a few years ago. Always good, right in the mix, just haven't broken through there yet. Lincoln Prep says a lot that they're kind of in the mix now every year. Olathe West, same for them. They've done a really good job. So that back five are teams that I would assume would be in there somewhere most of the year. They're going to keep some other schools from bumping them in. They're going to make other people come and knock them out.
All right, more legends to come on this show. Steve Rampy, same coach, new team. We'll talk with the new head man at Staley High School when we continue. And as promised, our friend Tony Severino joins us in studio in just a few minutes. Coach Sev, still active, still keeping his hand in football. We'll hear from him when we continue on this Nebraska Furniture Mart High School preview show here on Spectrum Sports.
Good throw, good throw, good throw, good throw, good throw. Hurry, White, let's go. Come on, hurry. Come on, come on, come on. Ace, let's go. Let's go, Gulffield, hurry. Great route, great throw. Great route, great throw.
Thing we haven't done it in a while. We're a little rusty, but now we've done it. So I want to see you compete harder than that. Right? The rest of the day, I want to see you compete. Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Break them off and let's go.
Get in, get in, get in, get in. Let's go. Hey, family on three. 1, 2, 3. Family.
Welcome back to the Nebraska Furniture Mart High School preview show with the new head coach at Staley, Steve Rampy. We know you from Blue Valley, obviously, from Pittsburgh State, from Lawrence, and now over on the Missouri side. You get a chance to see the other side of the state line.
Yeah, my wife and I still live in Lenexa. I get up and I have a 40-minute drive right now every day, and it's kind of invigorating to think about what you're going to do and get your mind organized for the day. And like I told somebody when I first took this job, I kind of made full circle. When Hannibal Junior High is where I started my educational career, and they were the Falcons. So in 50 years, I've made it full circle and gone back to the Falcons. So I'm kind of excited.
You started kind of on the Missouri side. You got your teaching degree on the Missouri side. Is that still valid in the Missouri?
Yeah, that was the funniest part of this whole deal. When I got that, I had not coached or taught in Missouri in 40 years, and so I called the Missouri State Department of Education. And the system has changed quite a bit, but I remember distinctly in 1979 when I graduated, that thing said lifetime certificate, so I thought to myself, I'm going to test that theory. And I called and I explained it to the young lady who answered the phone, and she said, well, what's your social security number? And I said, gave her my social security number, and she looked it up, and she goes, yep, it says right here, lifetime teaching physical education. And so they activated it right away, and I'm good to go. But I just thought that's nice to know that system's still in play. I'm not sure that's the way it is in Missouri now, but I have a lifetime teaching certificate there. So.
Did you get that in writing, sir?
I got the certificate. Forget the writing. So I actually asked, how can I get a copy of that? And she told me, so I have it now in hand.
What's it like taking over another program? You've done it any different way. I mean, you built Blue Valley to 4 state championships. You resurrected Lawrence. You're taking over a program now that's just had 2 head coaches, and they're pretty good already.
Well, I appreciate you saying I haven't done. I just had a small part in all those. You know, we had great people, great assistants, great community support in both those schools. You know, they're great, rich tradition in athletics. And Staley's the same way. They've got great people. We got great players, great staff. The community is very excited about it, so there's not much I in what I've done. So I'm glad to be part of it and excited about the future.
What was so appealing to you about Staley?
Oh, the growth potential. You know, it's as I was at Blue Valley in the years and Staley was developed, you know, it was always going to be one of those schools that it's like Blue Springs and Lee Summit and Ray-Pac. You know, there's a few schools that you'd listen to if they called, you know, and Staley was one of those situations, and they called and we talked, and I just thought it was a really good opportunity for me, and I got to bring some coaches that are near and dear to my heart with me, and so that made the opportunity too good to pass up.
Yeah, that offense has a familiar look to it.
Well, that and just, you know, I brought my young son Luke, who's coaching receivers, and and the chance to be with him now at the end of my career for as long as that is, and that's exciting for me. Every day I look forward to being with him, and it's fun to see how he's taken what we did and what he's learned in other places, and he's become a really good young coach. So I'm excited to be having him.
Did you hear some of Dad in your son now as he's coaching?
Some good, some bad, but unfortunately, yes. Yeah.
I see Falcons 9.1 on the front of their shirts. What does that mean?
9.1 is something we talk to them about doing every play. You know, it's their job, doing their job. It means 1/11th of 100% of a football play. 1/11th is 9.1%. So we talk to our guys about doing their 9.1 every time the ball's put in play.
And you hit the ground running? Obviously, you start in the summer and you're off and going. What are the challenges with starting anew?
Well, we've had great response to our off season, our summer workout program, our conditioning. We have great kids. We have a lot of kids that haven't missed a day. A lot of kids that haven't missed a day, and so they've been very, very responsive to what we're asking them to do. I don't know how much competitive 7-on-7 Staley's done in the past. That really doesn't matter. We're trying to introduce them to that and trying to be out. We went to team camp up at Northwest Missouri, and that was a great learning and improving experience for us. So it's just trying to do some of the things that we've done in the past that I know work with programs, and trying to get that integrated at Staley, and the kids are responding to it.
Staley's had great success already, and you can see the excitement from your players. I mean, even here in the middle of summer, there's a great deal of excitement, it looks like.
A fantastic tradition there. In a short time that Staley's existed, they've been very successful in football, and so they expect to do well. They expect to work hard. They know how to work hard. They know how to grind, and they've done that this summer. And like I said, we're excited.
I thought it was interesting. You said Staley reminded you a lot of Blue Valley. Kind of when Blue Valley opened, I mean, you guys were kind of that was the end. Nobody ever went that far south, and now it's not even really that far south. Staley reminded you a little bit of the same situation.
A little bit. There are cornfields in our backyard. You know, you look out of our stadium, and all you see is fields everywhere, and that reminds me a lot of the '80s around Blue Valley. You know, and there were times we hunted right across the street from Blue Valley. You know, dove hunted and whatnot. So it's very similar in that respect, and it's also similar in the fact the community is very excited about education and their kids and programs, and they support what we're doing, and that's the most appealing part to me.
Is it invigorating as a coach to step into a new program? I mean, you don't move around much. I mean, this is new for you too.
Every day. It's like I said, I get excited. I got about a 40-minute drive, and so I get a chance to get my mind ready and think about the events of the day and what we're going to do and what our practice schedules look like and what our day schedule look like. And so I've tried to be enthusiastic. I think they'd probably tell you that I am. It's just, like I said, having Luke there and having the coaching staff that's there, we're growing closer and closer as a group, and that's essential. And it just makes it fun to go to work.
It's great to see you back in the area, even though you weren't far away in Lawrence. But I don't know if the rest of the coaches feel the same way, but it's nice to see you.
Some of them do, some of them don't, so it's okay.
I'm sure you have a lot of success as Staley. Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great to see you again. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Nebraska Furniture Mart High School Preview Show. This man needs no introduction in high school sports. Tony Severino, it just, as I said when you came in, it feels like you have been high school football in Kansas City for so long, but this is your second year of not being on the sidelines. What's retirement like for one of the greatest coaches we've ever seen?
Well, I'd like to say retirement has been awesome. I mean, it's been good because I've had a chance to spend time with my wife. She's been a saint. With everything that I've had to go through, and my grandkids, I've had a chance to kind of watch them start to grow up and everything, where I'm not working 12, 15 hours a day. I just knew going into that year, I told my wife, she said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yeah, Mary." I said, "This is it." I said, "You know, I've been doing this is my 50th year. My 37th at Rockhurst. I've had such a great career, and I said, I'm ready. I said, I always said that if you start going into work and it feels like a job, it's time to give it up. And because I never looked at my job as being a job. It was more of a passion and something you enjoy, getting up in the morning, whether it was 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever, going in, man, you looked forward to it. And it got to be in that last year, the year before, I just kind of knew.
It's interesting that you and Kelly are so close, given that the Rockhurst and Blue Springs were such great rivals. You guys had so many great games. And I mean, knockdowns, and still to have that friendship is really remarkable.
Well, it's always about respect. I mean, it's how you treat him and how they treat you. I mean, I would coach against some guys, they don't even want to talk to you. And I always, somebody one day, I remember coming across the field after a game. I mean, we lost. And the guy goes, Coach, you don't have to be so happy. I go, look, it was a great game. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. I mean, once you put the game in perspective, you put it in perspective for yourself, your coaches, then it becomes in perspective with the players.
You stepped away just before COVID hit, and COVID obviously knocked down the season for Rockhurst at a critical point last year. What would that have been like for you as a coach with everything that had gone through? We were talking about the team not being able to travel together, coaches driving separately to games. What would that have been like for you? You were close enough to it last year to see what effect it had on the team and the coaches.
My wife, Marilyn, always goes, you'd had problems with this. You'd have probably went. I said, I probably would have, I know they all did. Obviously, you can't show it out with the kids. You got to present this, like this is the way it is.
Yeah.
We didn't have any choice. Nothing you could do about it. It's out of your control. And I think once you sit back and look at it, I think at first it would have been a major shock, But the funny thing is, I talked to Kelly right after that last game, and that weekend we talked, and he said, Coach, something just came up. I'm not sure we're going to be able to play. I think we're going to have to forfeit. And that Monday they had to do it, and he was sick, and I was sick for those guys and those kids that I knew, those coaches that I love. They're like family to me, and. I knew how much work they put in, and to see it end like that without a chance. You just didn't have a chance. You don't mind going into the playoffs, playing your heart out, going to a great game, and if you lose, at least you had a chance.
You're a bit of a softball fan now. Late the Northwest, we've seen you at some games. You've got some vested interest in softball now as well.
My granddaughter Brianna is a freshman at Olathe Northwest, and she made the all-league team as a freshman.
That's great.
Pitcher, shortstop, outfielder. She's really a good player. I love girls softball. Girls softball is so much fun to watch. I'd sit there with my wife, and I'd watch some of those catchers throwing girls out at second base off their knees. And I told her one time, I said, in my day, somebody told you, oh, you throw like a girl. I said, in today's world, if somebody tells you throw like a girl, thank them. I said, because that's a compliment. I said, because these girls can play. I mean, they are awesome.
11 grandkids. I know they keep you busy. What's in the future for you? You see yourself getting back into it somehow, some way, besides the second grade football analyst?
I've talked to people, and my wife, I'd love to do some, going around and maybe do some watching people and watching their programs if they need help, analyzing things and everything. Kelly asked me if I wanted to come back. My Achilles is almost there where but even with the second grade flag, after about an hour and a half on these Achilles, it's not like it used to be. I see myself probably doing something here in the future. I don't know what. Somebody wants me. I'm available. And if my wife gets tired of me long enough, she'll say, surely there's something you can do.
You have touched so many players, and now your players, your kids, are moving on to coaching positions now. It must do your heart good to see the former players, your own kids, involved in coaching part of it. That must come from you.
Well, I'm hoping they saw how much fun that we had doing it, how much you enjoy it. It's got to be a passion. I have, Nathan Shielas at Iowa State. In fact, A.J. Taylor has just been rehired hired at Rockhurst. He's hopefully going to help them out on their staff. And a number of them, Brandon Shelby and Kevin Kane, they all they're going to be head coaches at some point in time at the collegiate level, and maybe at the pro level. And I'm hoping we had a little bit of part of that. I know their families have had a lot to do with it, and you talk to kids and their parents. I just hope they grow up to be good citizens, in the end.
Coach, it's great to see you, and you've been such a part of the fabric of high school sports in Kansas City for so long. It's that voice. I miss that voice. I missed you at practice and games. It's great to see you. Thanks.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We'll be back with more on the Nebraska Furniture Mart High School Preview Show. We'll talk with Washington when we continue after this on Spectrum Sports. Welcome back to Nebraska Furniture Mart, our high school preview show with Washington High School. Coach Cameron Smith, Cameron Allen with us as well. And Coach, I got to think of any team in the city and in the state, you guys are going to be chomping at the bit to play because you didn't get to play last year.
Just to be back on the field and prepare for a game, and man, just playing the game, I just can't wait. And I know they can't either.
Coach, you didn't have a season, but you had sprinter practices. What's a sprinter practice?
So we call it sprinter. Basically, it was supposed to be spring ball for us, but it happened in the middle of February. So we definitely we call it sprinter. It was super cold. We had a few practices get snowed out, but we were actually able to go over to our middle school, Eisenhower, and have some indoor practices and skills and drills. So, but yeah, that sprinter ball, it was fun, but it was a little cold.
Cameron, tell me about sprinter ball. What did you learn from sprinter ball?
I learned to always wear a jacket and a hoodie. It was so cold. But at the end of the day, it was a fun practice, and I was glad to still get out there and practice on work.
In some ways, does that help prepare you now for the fall season?
Oh, most definitely. I actually, talking to the refs in the spring, I was like, man, are y'all enjoying coaching, reffing football, at this time? And they were like, oh, we love it. I was like, we need to go to the state. We should be able to do this every year, and, get the guys that aren't playing basketball or track and get them out there on the field and get them some snaps. And that's really all we did. It was amazing. And I definitely think it will pay huge benefits for these guys that participated.
Cameron, I know it had to be heartbreaking not to be able to play last year, but you do get to play as a senior this season. What does that make this year maybe even a little bit more special for you?
Yeah, it makes it real special for all of us and all my teammates, and we're ready to get out there. We've been working for a long time throughout the pandemic, and we're ready to showcase that. We're ready to showcase that.
What are you looking forward to the most? What did you miss when you don't have a high school football season?
I missed a lot. I didn't really get to show my talents off and what I've really been working with throughout that whole summer.
Coach, it's really the camaraderie. It's being around your friends. It's about being around your coaches that I think the guys probably miss as much as anything, isn't it?
Oh, most definitely. It was really hard to just not have that connection that we're used to having every fall, and that connection usually carries throughout the year. So we had to really be creative about how we could connect to players, how we could stay, in their heads and keep that relationship and communication open. It definitely took a lot more work than years previous.
How do you do that? How do you keep that connection when you're not able to see them every day at practice?
Well, we were approved to have workouts. So we had workouts. We still had some film sessions. We had some Zoom meetings, some team meetings. Brought in a few former coaches and had them talk to the guys. We had a Madden tournament last year, not so much this year. I was mad because I lost in the semifinals, but it's okay. But just trying to be creative about how to really connect to them and make sure that they understand that we care and we're in this with them. We're going through this too as coaches, losing a season, but obviously the biggest impact happened to them.
What's the goal for Washington this year? What are you looking forward to? What do you want to accomplish this year?
We're looking to set some records. I'm looking to set the most pick sixes in the state of Kansas. And then as a team, we're looking to win one of the playoff games to make Washington history.
And I know for you, it's important to have some success in the postseason as well.
Most definitely. So Washington High School has actually never won a playoff game in the history of the school. So that's a big goal for us this year, to position ourselves to be able to potentially do that. That would be history for us. So, and that's, it doesn't stop there, but you got to get there first, and when you get past that, you go to the next level. So.
I know excitement is very high, and you've got a big freshman class at Washington this year, and you've got some excitement about football there too, right?
Oh, most definitely. So, I mean, not only did we lose a season, but our middle school kids did as well. So a lot of those 8th graders didn't get their 8th grade season, so they're excited to be able to come into high school now and get back on the field as well. So.
And tell me about some of the other key players you have coming back this season.
So we got some talented guys. Kid named Quantre Moore. He's going to play DN and linebacker for us. He's a senior. John Ross, he'll be our starting running back. He's a junior actually. And then our quarterback / DB, Savion Powell. He actually came to us in the spring. He got to play in those scrimmages with us at quarterback. And then Rashad Barker, he's a wide receiver as well. We got a nice group of linemen. They're not the tallest guys, but they got some heart and they got some passion. And so I'm definitely excited to see what that line does. And I'm really excited. I got a coaching staff that is just chomping at the bit, doing their thing. Special teams coach, Darion Brooks, defensive coordinator, Kenneth Lowry. It's a relatively new staff, but we all have really good chemistry. So I'm excited to see what they do as well.
Well, excited for you guys to get back on the field, and I know you can't wait to play a game and get out there and feel those Friday night lights one more time.
Yes, sir.
Coach, thank you very much. Cameron, good luck, and go get that record, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
When we come back here on the Nebraska Furniture Mart High School preview show, we'll have Deion Clisso's RE/MAX Big Three. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Nebraska Furniture Mart High School Preview Show. Deion Clisso from Preps KC is with us, and with the RE/MAX Big Three. Deion, you got a pretty good Big Three there, I think, for the first week of the season.
Well, last year Liberty, Blue Springs plays, and Liberty just is all over Blue Springs and gets a big win and kind of sprung them into their big season. I think Blue Springs is looking to kind of return the favor this year. I mean, Liberty's kind of the big-time favored team. It should be a good one. It's your Spectrum Game of the Week and Hy-Vee Game of the Week to start, and that's a really fun one to start the season.
Platte County and Park Hill South.
Well, I'd say these are two pretty good teams. They were both in Class 5 last year. One could be in 4, one could be in 6. They could both be in 5, who knows? And I think these are two really good programs that are, you see Platte County in the state championship game in 4 and 5 the last 2 years. And Park Hill South, this might be as good a team as they've done.
And St. Michael and Summit Christian, I know it could be a good game as well.
Well, Summit Christian is a team that was in the quarterfinals the last few years on the Missouri side in Class 3. St. Michael 5 and 5, their best record since they became a school a few years ago. And I think that they're a team to keep an eye on as they go forward. They've got a really good new coach in there in his second year, and I think they like their talent. And that could be a rivalry down the line. They're not that far apart.
All right, we're just into practice yet, but give me the early favorites, if you will, for the Simone Award. Maybe one on each side of the state line.
Well, if you started, we were talking about Liberty, Wintrick Williams III, outstanding tailback. If he doesn't get nicked up with his ankle last year, he maybe has a shot to win that award. And he was putting up 200 yards a game every week. Henry Martin, the quarterback from Blue Valley North, and Coach Adam Pamel took over for Andy Sims. I think they're going to have a very similar offense. He's got great receivers, and he does a fantastic job. So there's two names in what could be a very wide open year, to say the least.
All right, let's take a look back at our first 3 games, our Hy-Vee High School games of the week here on Spectrum Sports. We're going to get you started with Blue Springs and Liberty. You've already talked about that one, Deion. That ought to be a great matchup to get things going. Then we'll see Mill Valley and Gardner-Edgerton. Gardner-Edgerton, really not a team that we talked much about.
Well, and Jesse Owen comes over, the former Olathe East coach, to take them over. And, they switch from running the ball to throwing the ball, and they've got a good young quarterback. That's going to be an interesting game for Mill Valley to start the season, because Gardner's a team that can step up and get them.
And then Luther North taking on St. Thomas Aquinas. That one kicks off at 7 o'clock right here on Spectrum Sports, our Hy-Vee Game of the Week on September the 10th. Dan, we've gone through the top 25, our Super 25. Is there another team out there or two that maybe we haven't talked about that could be a surprise for us this season?
Well, it's funny that there's one conference that has a great top, and that's the MRVC West with Odessa. Warrensburg's been really good, and then Harrisonville's kind of been there. But you've got Center and Oak Grove, who are both returning about 8 on each side of the ball. They were both really young last year. Excelsior Springs is kind of in the same boat. That's a conference that week in, week out is going to be very tough to win a game, because what you would perceive as the middle might be good enough to win 8-9 games in another league. So those two, Center and Oak Grove, are teams I want to keep an eye on as the season goes on.
It's just a couple of events that I've been to pre-season, but you can already tell people are wound up for this high school football season. I mean, parents, students, everybody's just anxious to go see an event again and be part of it, because last year was just, for most of us, it was just parents, and some schools didn't even have a season.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing too. It's, you know, we're going to have a more full, open kind of thing, and it's going to be great. Of course, the heat's going to be here for the first week, which is a classic Kansas City, and it'll be nice and hot, and you know, who knows, we may be stopping 17 times for water, but hey, that's better than not playing at all.
Absolutely. Dion, perhaps Casey, you do such a great job covering high school football. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's always fun to come.
Appreciate it. And a big thank you to our producer, Sean Belden, who lives and breathes us. Sean Belden's the guy to email, by the way, if you want your game on that open spot on the schedule. And Mike Brown behind the controls, thank you very much. For all of us here at Spectrum Sports, I'm Leif Lysick saying we'll see you on the Hy-Vee High School Game of the Week. The high school football season is upon us, and we can't wait. We'll see you at the games.